Dear all, welcome to MA Education Part 2, Institute of Distance Open Learning, IDOL, University of Mumbai. The section we are going to deal with today is Unit 2D, Factors Affecting ICT Learning and Factors Facilitating ICT Learning. At the end of this session, you will be able to explain the various factors that affect ICT learning and suggest ways of facilitating ICT learning. The introduction of information technologies in education has been identified strongly with a variety of applications over the years. Computers, internet, educational software, laptops, and PDAs are concepts largely used in education as technological icons to show to what extent schools are in line with modern life. However, these technologies are often considered fads, but they also show us the tip of the iceberg in educational issues. There are many issues that are considered to interplay to determine the extent to which ICT is used. In this unit, the different sides of this iceberg will be analyzed to understand more comprehensively what the factors that affect and facilitate ICT learning are. The subunit is entirely based on research findings. On the basis of Bektas analysis, the following barriers or factors have been found to affect ICT learning. These barriers can be broadly grouped into two levels: those relating to individual, known as the teacher level barriers, and those relating to the institution, known as the school level barriers. Let's have a look at both the barriers in detail. The first one is the teacher level barriers. There are various factors at the teacher level which affects ICT learning. The first one is lack of time. It takes a lot of time to learn new technology and the teachers are hard pressed for time. Hence, they do not get time for both formal training and self-directed exploration as well as for preparing ICT resources for lessons. When using ICT, classroom management is a task, especially because the pupil to computer ratios are poor. The next aspect is perception. Perception that computers are complicated and difficult to use. Perception that technology does not enhance learning. Life is a good teacher. If the experiences are good, then it enhances and enriches our knowledge, and it also boosts our confidence. However, negative experiences hinder learning. Experiences like the loss of data, interruption during lecture due to technical snags, etc. dissuades one to carry on with ICT. The teachers also lack self-confidence in using ICT. The next aspect is fear. Fear of embarrassment in front of pupils and colleagues, loss of status, and an effective degrading of professional skills. Rigidity or lack of personal change management skills on the part of the teacher. Lack of motivation to change long-standing pedagogical practices. Lack of knowledge necessary to enable teachers to resolve technical problems when they occur. Therefore, due to these reasons, the teachers are hesitant to use ICT in their teaching learning process. The second barriers are the school level barriers. As per research findings, lack of ICT equipment is the highest rated barrier internationally. This problem is often cited in well-resourced countries. So what might be the condition of developing countries? The cost of acquiring ICT equipments, using them and maintaining them is a very costly affair. Even though the schools may have ICT resources, they are used in ICT suites instead of classrooms. Next big hurdle is the jet speed of technological advancement. Within no time, new software and hardware comes in the market, resulting in the installed software and hardware obsolete. The teachers can face problems like software malfunctions, burnt out light bulbs, slow internet access, out of date software, making the equipments unreliable. Lack of technical support if there arises technical problems. Lack of administrative support when it comes to getting space and resources for ICT mediated teaching. Lack of institutional support like attitude of the support personnel, slow response of equipment failure. There is lack of training for teachers to integrate technology in the classroom also. We focus on simply teaching basic skills. There is lack of training differentiated according to teachers' existing ICT skill levels. Let's explore the complex relationship between these two barriers, that is the school level and teacher level barriers, and between the barriers within those levels. These relationships are explored in detail in the section Explanation of Findings. This section explores in greater depth the identified barriers, the reasons behind them, and the relations between them. The first aspect is the barriers. Many authors categorize barriers as external or first order or internal second order. First order barriers include lack of equipment, unreliability, lack of technical support, and other resource related issues. Second order barriers include both school level factors such as organizational culture and teacher level factors such as beliefs about teaching and technology and openness to change. A lack of equipment is the highest rated barrier internationally, as we already know. However, as per studies, the inability to use technology in a creative and innovative way is a larger barrier than lack of ICT equipments. While these first order barriers are clearly significant, research suggests the importance teachers attach to them can reflect their own second order barriers. In particular, teachers' beliefs about the relevance of ICT to their subject can magnify or reduce the effect of practical difficulties they may encounter. For example, perception of computers as difficult to use may be as much to do with lack of confidence as with the hardware or software itself. Here, this example shows how first order barrier masks the second order barrier. But then it is impossible to separate first order from second order barriers or barriers at the teacher level from those at the school or policy level. The next aspects are attitude and training. Attitudes towards ICT can be barriers in themselves. They can influence or be influenced by other barriers. Negative experiences affect perceptions of the ease of use and relevance of ICT, reducing confidence and increasing anxiety. Computer anxiety and anxiety about change are key factors limiting teachers' use of technology. Underlying these anxieties are fear of embarrassment when using computers and fear of losing professional status through a downgrading of traditional pedagogical skills. The next one is training. Lack of time, training, weakness in the design and delivery of many courses are major obstacles in effective use of ICT. The focus is on basic ICT skill rather than on skill to train teachers to integrate ICT in their pedagogy. Thus, there is a need for differentiated training, taking into account teachers' varying level of computer experience and learning styles. Since initial teacher training involves attention to the literature part access to ICT can be problematic. However, a more serious barrier lies in the fact that tutors often have little experience of using technology to deliver the curriculum. As a result, pre-service teachers lack practical models of integration, leading to a disparity between their expectations of ICT use and their actual use. A lack of encouragement to use ICT during teaching practice and varying resources in schools aggravate this problem. For new teachers as much as experienced ones, integration requires both access to ICT in the classroom and the motivation to use. Let us now move on to the next section, that is the factors which help or facilitate ICT learning. They are as follows: pedagogical objectives and goals, leadership, professional development and ongoing support, experimentation, time, ICT infrastructure, financing and sustainability. Let us go through them in detail. The first one, or the first factor, is pedagogical objectives and goals. Schools should share a reformed vision of teaching and learning in order to create sustainable change at classroom and school levels. With respect to ICT integration, it should play a role in supporting that vision, and teachers should be able to see how ICT supports their students' learning. There is a need to interpret the vision into a practical understanding that could be implemented in their context. This process of reinterpretation of an abstract vision of teaching and learning with ICT into practical activities appears to be a fundamental step on the process of real classroom reform. The Indian education system is supporting a more student-centered approach to teaching and learning with ICT. The next important aspect is leadership. As per research, leadership at various levels of system is important if an innovative project is to take root and grow at the classroom level. Most of these schools function with two levels of leadership. First, there is the national or provincial Ministry of Education that sets overall policy, curricula and national assessment. And second, there is the building leadership that makes the day-to-day decisions. While issues of national leadership are important for technology project, leadership within the school is equally important. School's leadership is the key nexus in the process of reinterpreting a broad, abstract vision into a practical vision. There are three aspects of the role of building level leaders in supporting a process of ICT integration and pedagogical innovation. The first one is leadership does not come only from the principal. The second is the leaders of the ICT initiatives should set the vision and provide clear expectations for teachers as well as provide support and guidance in teachers' classrooms. A central role for the school principal or the person with administrative authority is to make key decisions about resource allocation. An instructional leader, as described above, is very important. But there are also specific administrative and logistic challenges around using ICT that school administrators must solve. What is needed is to find solution to the challenges in order to allow change and innovation to take place with the resources that are. Therefore, educators should meet, plan and discuss new strategies and share challenges and successes in order to effectively use ICT for teaching and learning in school. Experimentation, adaptation and critical reflection is the next factor. As per findings, culture of experimentation plays a vital role in school-wide change and its relationship to leadership, pedagogical goals, and professional development. Teachers need to be willing to experiment and take on the challenges to try to do new things. Willingness to experiment with novel ideas and openness to reflect on the successes and failures will help to create positive change. The culture of experimentation should be promoted by the leadership and should be in line with the school's pedagogical goals. Much like physical resource, time is a scarce resource that schools must manage carefully. Time in relation to ICT implementation has to be viewed in two dimensions: teachers' professional development and planning time, students' time in the classroom or learning activity. Each school should develop their own strategies for training teachers and implementing the use of ICT depending upon the particularities of the larger system. As we have already seen in the previous section, in most developed countries, ICT infrastructure is commonly a limited resource in schools. With limited resources, it is often difficult for schools to provide sufficient access so students can use ICT during their classes. Research studies suggest that no single strategy will work for all schools with resource limits. Each school should develop unique strategies to provide meaningful learning activities using ICT tools, whether it is teachers using ICT-based teaching aids or student ICT use. Although many urban Indian schools have computer labs, there are still too many students to give classes consistent and frequent ICT access during the school day. Thus, the schools in India need to work on strategies to make facilities available to both students and teachers during school hours. Cost and sustainability are ongoing challenges for all the schools when attempting to bring in new complex resources such as ICT. Two things need to be done in order to manage sustainability of ICT activities. The first one is to try to obtain resources from as many sources as possible. The second, try to control the costs related to ICT activities. Fundings can be managed from the following sources: government program or schemes for obtaining basic level of resources, community or corporate sectors which value ICT initiatives in schools and donate ICT resources as an initiative of their CSR program. Schools should have their own small source of revenue also. Schools can also control other costs associated with ICT, such as ink, paper, and peripherals. For the success of ICT in learning, schools should be encouraged to look at all the three options of financing and sustainability. Assess your progress with the help of these questions. Thank you so much and have a good day.